This week on Alien Theorists Theorizing.
Okay, so this event, as we discussed, takes place in Newmill, the United Kingdom, in 1977.
Where nothing of interest happens, including
except for this.
including the UFO sighting.
Wouldn't skin, that'd be like radiation burns. That's even way worse. Like you'd have to be close to like actual radioactive
exposure.
I mean,
probably underneath the ye old post office, there was something that they shouldn't have disturbed.
Yeah.
And as they're fixing it, they lifted one stone and just kind of like,
ye old evil postman.
The Enigma of the Newmill Green Blob.
Welcome to Alien Theorists Theorizing Playoff Edition. Do not fucking blow the score in the chat. Listen, we don't want no spoilers.
I'll fucking listen. Spoilers. I will. I'll hop on a fucking plane to Boston. Oh wait, you're not actually from Boston. You're from somewhere else, pretending to be a Boston fan. I'll come to wherever that is and fucking Jersey ya.
The boys here fired up tonight, so we're not fucking around. I'm Braden.
I'm Zel.
I'm too amped up.
He's too
angry. Right? Fucking T minus how many hours? I can't fucking.
No, I know it's fucking brutal.
I got anxiety.
Now I gotta tell you, I've never lived in a friendly neighborhood. Like I've told you guys before that, like I'm like, okay, my new house, like a lot of walkers, a lot of stoppers and shots. I'm starting to meet the neighbors and stuff. So yesterday I'm trying to find the property pins with the metal detector, and so I'm sitting out there, and this like the neighbor's kid comes out, and he comes out, and I met him once before.
Be honest, were you dousing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Walking around with two coat hangers.
Yeah.
Dan would be very upset with you.
How were they calibrated? I banged them together. That's like, okay, that's by saying that, because like I used a metal detector out there, and when it beeps and finds metal, that's like me being like, oh yeah, well, it beeped. Well, how was it calibrated? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't make these things. All I know is it beeped when it found metal. That's it.
That's true.
How is it calibrated? I don't know. It's calibrated to find metal, and it did. That's just like ghost
job.
Yeah. That's fair.
So then I'm sick of this calibration talk. All right? I'm fucking sick of it.
Fuck
off. So this kid comes out, and whatever. I don't think he's going to ever listen. So Malcolm comes out, and he goes, he's like 6 years old. He comes out, and he goes, looks at me, and he goes, we've met, right? And I go, yeah, I don't remember your name, though. And he goes, Malcolm. And he goes, what's your name? I go, Braden. He goes, oh, yeah. So we are friends. And I'm like, yeah.
Sure.
So then he goes, oh, yeah, cool. And he goes, I've always wanted to use a metal detector my whole life.
All 6 years.
I was like, all right, cool. And then he goes, wait, you have a kid? I go, yeah, I do. And he goes, how old is he? And I go, 14 months. And he goes, 14? Too old to play with me. And I go, no, 14 months. And he goes, 14? And his mom like peeks around the corner. She goes, that's 1 year and 2 months. And he goes, so he's 2. And I'm like, no, he's 1. And he goes, he's 1? You playing jokes on me? And I'm like, no, not playing jokes on you, Malcolm. He goes, all right, well, how old is he? And I go, he's 1. And he goes, too little. And then he goes, wait, how old will I be when he's 6? And his mom's like, Malcolm, it's 6 plus 6. And he goes, just stands there. And he goes, oh, I'll be 12. I go, yeah. He goes, well, how old will I be when he's 12? And then his mom's like, well, what's 12 plus 6? And he goes, 15. She's like, no. And he goes, 17? She's like, no. And he's like, 20. She goes, no, 6 plus 2. And he's like, 8. I'll be 8. And she's like, no, but plus 10. And he goes, 18. And then he goes, why am I doing math? And he just walks away. And I was like, this kid is unbelievable.
That kid probably hates you now.
I walk in the backyard and he goes, is that a hot tub? And I go, yeah, it is. He goes, can I look in it? And I go, sure, man. He lifts the lid and he goes, oh, I would love to just dip my finger in. I go, you go right ahead. And he just dips his finger in. He goes, oh, isn't that nice? I would love to go in it.
You're like,
and I'm like,
and that's where we draw the line around here.
So I was like, yeah, they're pretty nice. And he goes, yeah, I would love it.
You know what you're going to start getting? You're going to start getting a little knock at the studio door.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, he was.
Jamie
has a video of me. I was walking doing yard stuff, and this kid is like glued to me, just walking, asking me every question known to man. Right? He's like, you should check right here for metal. And so I like put the thing there. It doesn't beep. I'm like, no metal. He goes, can't get them all. I'm like, okay, this kid is something else.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah. It's just, I was like, holy shit. Jamie's like laughing. I come in, I'm like, this kid is going to be the death of me. I was like, I'm like looking outside. I can just see him like peeking around, like looking to see if we're coming outside.
You finally got a friend in Campbell River. It's a fucking win.
Little Malcolm.
Yeah.
And he goes, I got a brother. I don't like him very much. And I go, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
I got one of those too.
Yeah. He goes, he doesn't let me hang out with him. I went, why? He goes, he says he's too old. And he goes, you let me hang out with you though. And you're way older. And I'm like,
choke slam.
Yes. Like literally the questions I was receiving, why'd you lose your hair? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm old, man. You're probably going to lose your hair too. And he goes, not me. Not like you. And I go, okay. Then I was getting annoyed because he's just like asked a question. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, you say the same thing all the time. And I'm like, what's that? He goes, yeah, just yeah. That's it. That's all you say. And I'm like, okay, kid.
All right, kid.
Holy. It's like an hour of chatting with this kid. I was
where's
like,
this kid's fucking parents?
Mowing the lawn next door. I was like, fucking cut himself. He's like, you got a Band-Aid in your house? I was like, do you have Band-Aids in your house? He goes, yeah. But we're right by your house. I'm like, you want in. I know you.
What's in here?
You're looking for snacks. You're looking for games.
What's in your fridge?
Yeah, Braden doesn't like sharing his games, so.
In your fridge.
Oh,
you got a cat? You got a dog?
Oh, yeah.
What do you got?
Like, is that a wiener dog? Oh,
I've always wanted one of those wiener dogs.
I've always wanted to hold a wiener dog. I see where this is going, kid. You got to try some new moves. You're not going to bait me in with that one every time. So that's my neighborhood.
You're in for it.
Yeah.
It's just starting.
Did they just move in or something? Like what's
No, they're been there for like 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So I started pegging out the fence line.
Nice.
Like, oh God. I'm going to make sure this thing's not climbable.
Big 8-foot fence. Solid. Can't see through.
Got to keep Malcolm out.
That's funny.
Little maniac. But we're talking about the fucking Newmill Green Blob.
The green blob.
The gaseous blob of doom.
Gaseous blob. When Dan leaves, we pull out the A tier fucking UFO.
Yeah, we save this stuff.
Yeah, we saved it because we're like, this is too much for Dan. Too much going on.
Too much death. Oh my God, we should do something like death and destruction.
I know. That's
what the fuck were we thinking?
We still got next week.
We panicked.
I think we got 2 more weeks.
It's a hectic time.
It is a hectic time. And like this Monday is the start of back to normal for me.
Is it?
Like I've finally done anything, finished services.
I'm close.
All the funerals I had to go to. Just now I'm like, oh, I have nothing. My schedule is free and clear into the foreseeable future. So nice. I'm like, thank God. The only thing obviously is WrestleMania next year in Vegas. That's the only thing.
WrestleMania.
Seeds been planted.
Yeah, just planted seeds.
It was instantly swatted back.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they grow
out of the ground and launched. You want to do what?
Just throwing seeds.
You want to do what?
Like Johnny Appleseed.
We got a podcast business trip to Las Vegas. What's in Las Vegas for podcasting?
WrestleMania?
Yeah, think of how good that story was last time. That's fucking, come on.
It's content.
All right? That's what it is.
Anyways, we're heading to Newmill, Cornwall, United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Which I think it's always funny when you search a place you don't know, and then it proceeds to describe the place by saying it's 3 kilometers north of Penzance, Cornwall, United Kingdom. Yeah. Another place that no one knows where it is.
Listen.
And then you look up that place and it's like, oh yeah, it's just east of Newmill. You're like,
okay.
I mean, the best way
really
to
getting a lay of the land
places,
here.
though, it's the Shire.
Yeah, that's all.
Literally
When I think
Shire.
about the United Kingdom, I just think of Shire.
It's the Shire.
Moors.
Yeah.
Shire.
Yeah.
Things made of stone.
Yeah.
Some circles, churches.
I mean, I guess Newmill is like they have some like ancient sites around, like burial mounds, standing stones.
Standing stones are like mini
Stonehenge,
really
copycats. Yeah, they're like, what if we have a miniature version? That'll bring the tourists in.
This is where they started, and they slowly got better.
Well, it's hobbits. Hobbits can only make small fucking things.
Like this kind of area in the world's where Worcestershire sauce was made. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm just taking a stab at the dark here. 100%.
High probability, I believe.
Yeah,
high probability.
I'd get along with that.
Yeah.
Nowhere else would come up with a name like that for a sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, it's like there's a half. There's like an ancient site, Chichester, which is like just like a half kilometer away from Newmill. So there's like a lot of interesting.
It's a hub,
like history.
It's
historical
hub.
Monuments here.
Yeah, a lot of history and stuff. And it is probably wins the award for most lackluster UFO of all time.
What are you talking about?
Is it a UFO or is it some type of supernatural blob?
Okay, so this event, as we discussed, takes place in Newmill, the United Kingdom, in 1977.
Where nothing of interest happens, including
except for this,
including the UFO sighting that happened. They're like, look what happened to our town, our little town. Everyone's like, yeah, okay.
I don't even think everybody in the town bought in. It made the newspaper though.
Well, I mean, in small town, it doesn't take much to make the paper.
All right. So 1977, around 9:30 p.m. on a Saturday, September 17th, Carolyn James Bond, was heading to the front of her house, getting ready to fire up her moped for an evening fucking scoot around the moor or whatever the hell you call it.
The narrow cobblestone roads.
She approached the moped and she had this weird, eerie feeling that her husband was kind of just like walking behind her. She just felt a presence behind her. And when she turned around, she realized it wasn't Peter. In fact, it wasn't a person at all. What Caroline saw that was merely 4 meters in front of her was floating in the air. It was some sort of strange green haze, and it was flashing between green and silver and had some sort of red in it, and it looked like a gas.
Yeah, like it's glowing at in the dark, just like a glowing cloud.
What can only be described as a blob.
Of gas.
Boy, it was weird because it was like flashing metallic, which did kind of like make me think of like
seen some UFOs that change color like that.
Yeah, and like she couldn't see through it, right? It was just like this thick, hazy, whatever, gaseous looking object, but it did have something protruding from the bottom of it, right? Which kind of looked like a fin. Which is interesting, right?
Rudder.
And it was hovering above the ground. And obviously, like when you think about that, like I've never really, have you heard of a description like that? Like,
no.
Right? Like I'm wondering if this haze, like you think maybe it's some type of like cloaking device?
Oh.
Well, or like, you know?
Okay, I'm trying to think of the movie because I was thinking about this when I was reading this of the flashing, because it kind of describes like it sparkles and it like flashes red and it's like a metallic flash, and it's like that's kind of like what some sort of like predator like cuttlefish and stuff do. Like they'll flash like warning flashes to people, you know what I mean? So then I was like, is this maybe some sort of fucking interdimensional creature? Because like it doesn't really seem like a fucking. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like a like a standard UFO. It's like an
octopus. It's inking.
Yeah, right. Because it's solid.
It's ferreting out green gas to protect itself. I'm pretty sure that's
poisonous.
what you. If your life was in immediate danger, I'm pretty sure you'd fart.
Well, I do something.
Yeah.
Hands up. Release all bowel.
Yeah. Right. Like just everything empty out.
It's like that video of that shoplifter. You ever see that shoplifter who gets caught by the security and they're wrestling him and he gets an arm free and just puts his hands down his pants, comes out, and he's got a poopy hand, and everyone leaves him alone and he runs out.
You know what? It's true. If you run into like some type of mugger on the street, he's trying to steal your wallet, take off your pants, take a shit on the ground. He's gonna leave.
Give him the old stink finger. Get him to stay away.
Take a shit on the ground and be like, you don't want any part of this.
No, give him a quick half Horton.
Yeah. There you go. Or just shit your pants. Don't even bother pulling them down.
Well, I think you got to prove at this point, like, because like if it's just, you know what I mean? Because like I think you gotta. It's the threat display you got to show, right? In that, in those, like,
I mean, you could technically use that as a weapon. Like that's a projectiles, right? Like just
biological,
mud pies.
That's
a bio weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like maybe
you don't know what I got.
Maybe they have an open cut. You get a little poop in there.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Blood poisoning. Yeah. Whole shebang.
And that's smart because then you go to the hospital. You're like, anyone coming in with an infection?
Yeah.
Big poop infection.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, this guy. Arrest that man, officer.
Yeah, who's that guy wearing the fucking sweater with black and white stripes on it and little toque who's got bilateral pink eye? It's that guy. That's him. Yeah. That's the man you're looking for.
Yeah. We go to all pharmacies. And we need all prescriptions of conjunctivitis that have gone out.
So at this point,
narrow down the subject.
This gaseous craft is only 2 meters away from Caroline, where she comes up with the idea to start screaming for her husband, right? Or partner, whatever he is, which makes sense. Yeah. Oi!
Oi, Pia! What the fuck you want? What the fuck you on about?
Yeah. So Peter comes running out, witnesses said craft. And then, it's sitting there for so long that Peter's like, well, you know what? Maybe it just looks a little fucking hazy to me because I got shitty eyes. I'm going to go back inside and get my fucking specs. So he runs back inside, comes back, his spectacles.
Yeah. He does like the old eye rub.
Yeah.
Nope.
Puts on the glasses. Whoa. He's like, oh, I see it.
Oy.
It is a blob. I love if both of them need glasses and that's why the description is just they just can't fucking see shit. These two, they just got the worst like stigmatisms.
It was just a balloon, but it was so blurry.
Fucking mylar balloon. Oh.
That's funny. So they both get their eyes on this, and it's like this thing's been hovering around them for so long that they were even able to like recruit 2 people. I think they were at like a
there was like a little phone kiosk outside, at the front of their house, like on the street. And they're like, hey, you guys come take a quick look at this.
I'm on the phone.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
So yeah, those people come and fucking get a chance to look at this thing too, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
right?
So you get 4 people that get eyes on this like weird blob like for floating blob.
And that's not so apparently too, like these people, the 2 people that came and witnessed died on it, it's Bill and Sally Beard, real names.
Yeah, the Beards.
Yeah,
Bill Beard.
Bill Beard.
Yeah. Everyone's name in this is fucking epic. You got Peter Bolton, Caroline Bond, the Beards,
Bolton?
Bill Beard.
Peter
Bolton.
Cousin of Michael, I believe.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. Just the hair's flowing.
Fucking sexy bastard, that guy. So, so you got them. And then I guess the person that the Beards are fucking, they're from out of town, from Birmingham or whatever the hell. I'm sure I'm saying
another well-known town just down the road,
So the lady that they were selling with, Mrs. Gibbons, she came out and had a little fucking peep at it too. And then here's another George Stone.
Oh yeah, like
come on.
When I read through this, I'm like,
do you make
are all these names made up? This town has the best names. Everyone who lives here.
Okay, listen. So we got George Stone, another known witness, but then there's Anthony Latte.
No, that's
like that seems real.
That's the worst of the bunch.
Yeah. That's sorry.
Who works as a civil servant nearby in Crowlaws saw a saucer-shaped object while he was driving on the Red Ruth bypass road. It showed up on the side of his car at about the height of his roof. The top part of it was glowing white. The bottom of it had a part yellowish color. He sped up. The saucer did too, staying alongside him until it faded and he couldn't see it anymore. So, but that description's it's like different. It's not, there's no gas.
Yeah. There's no haze. It's just interesting that it happens the same night. So that makes you think that are they together? Is this blob thing something that might like a probe or something comes? Because like at one point when you listen to the account of Peter Bolton and Bond, like this thing is like, it's not moving fast. Like it's almost
floating.
Like It's like floating at a walking pace, and it like floats over to their barn, and then like it like kind of like strafes down the cobblestones, like almost like looking at the like barn windows and stuff, and then gets to a certain point and it's just like turns and then like goes back along the barn, and then just like hovers off. And as it hovers off like over the field, it just slowly starts rising and rising and rising until it rises above the trees and then out of sight. But they were like, it took that weird like hard stop, hard right along the barn, looked like they thought it was like looking and examining the barn and the cobblestones, and then turns and then just slowly like leaves, like if it was just looking at stuff. Like it would be that like they draw a description, and it would be an interesting path, because if you were like, you know, some of the people are like, oh, you know, maybe it is some sort of balloon or something. I'm like, well, I've never seen a balloon like that, but like they drew a picture of what the road it took, and you can see like
ye old post office.
Yeah. But like it's kind of interesting that like it does that one, because if it just floated in a straight line, you'd be like, yeah, okay, weird. But like this takes it's like inspecting. It looks a hard right and then just turns and, you know, heads back the other way and starts to gain elevation.
Those fallen stones, are those like actual like megalithic stones from the ancient Druidic culture?
No, it sounds like they're just cobblestones that have all come apart, and
the building's just slowly falling apart.
Yeah, like because there's a ruined building right beside that's all like dilapidated and shit's falling off everywhere.
Doesn't that? It's funny because when you think of like the UK, right? Especially like this area, and us being so naive, because like have any of you guys been there?
Nope. No.
Right. So I think about that, and it's like you have this fallen building. So obviously it's like a little bit moss covered stone, and it looks like it's like medieval, and it's just kind of like crumbling and shit. And like if you had that description in like here in Canada or the US, you'd be like, oh, it's like ghetto. But there it's like, oh, it's magical. It's like some nice artifact. Fucking, it's you know, remarkable.
Magical properties.
Yeah. But being there, you're probably like, yeah, it's just some shitty broken down fucking house behind mine with its fallen stones.
I know, yeah. It's probably like having you buy like an old acreage and you got like an old beat down barn here.
To be fair though, like the fallen stones that are around all the dilapidated houses and stuff like that live around here are usually in Rutland, and the stones are crack.
Yeah.
So, you know, like that's the difference.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. And the thing is for me, I'm like, cause I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a balloon. They saw it at night, and I saw stuff like that. But I'm like, well, if this thing, the way it floats off, like it would have started elevating right away. Like this took some time. Like they were able to go and pull other people. Why they didn't approach it closer is always kind of like questioned me of like, what, you know, like
why did no one try and put their hand through it?
Yeah, like go up to it. Maybe it was so shocking that you're kind of worried. I could see that. But then when it like leaves the barn side and goes like just starts elevating slowly over the field till it's above the treetops and disappears. You know, I'm like, if it's some sort of balloon, you would have rapid ascent, like from the moment they see it, not this like controlled slow descent.
Well, I mean, you could counterweight a balloon, and that so it only floats at a certain height, but like not in a predictable pattern, just wherever the wind goes. But it wasn't the only, like the following night, more great names, Mr. Chisel or Chiswell,
great name,
and Mr. Barry also seen a similar object. So it wasn't just one night.
Yeah,
so
like
multiple witnesses over multiple nights, and also multiple styles of this or something. There's like seemed like a mothership, and then these little drone, smaller ones.
These little blobs.
Yeah.
And I guess Caroline Bond's still alive because she on one of the like if you go and look at the Newmill like posts and various ones, she comments on one of the articles. She's just like, it's like the main pinned comment is Caroline Bond. She's like, it's nice to read about my UFO case all these years later. You know, like,
that's crazy.
So she's still alive. Like, you know, and reach out. It's just it's weird in the sense that like this is, when have we ever been like, there's just a blob, like someone's like, that's the description, blob. Weird fuzzy blob that was shining light.
But another interesting thing with this too is the fact it's like, so now we've got multiple witnesses. We've got this bizarre appearing potential craft being whatever the fuck it is, but we also have some physical findings as well. which is super interesting, right? Because a few days later, after witnessing this strange phenomenon, Caroline and Peter both came acutely ill. First Peter and then Caroline, but Peter had to get himself into the hospital right away.
Peter was like fucking legit, like on his deathbed for a while, like ER, like.
Well, I started with muscle aches from head to toe, and then he started getting migraine, followed by nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach,
diarrhea.
Perfect. And then it was kind of funny. So when Caroline came in, they initially started like querying maybe appendicitis. So they went as far as giving her a fucking appendectomy. They pulled out her appendix and was like, "Oh, this is a perfectly healthy appendix."
Would you look at that?
Great. Yeah, like what the fuck?
This is a model. She's like, "Oh."
Could you imagine? Just start fucking taking organs out. Like, it's probably this. Let's try it. Oh, no, just kidding. It's good.
No, it's fine. You're fine.
That's good old 1970s healthcare.
Actually, we think there's something might be wrong with your kidney as well. So we'll go ahead and take that out.
Take one.
Yeah, we're just going to take one. You can live with the other.
Portion of your liver. It'll grow back. Don't worry. We're just to check.
You'll be fine.
While we're in there, we'll clean you out a little bit.
Yeah, fuck. Wakes up in a fucking bathtub full of ice. Be like, it turns out you're okay.
Yeah, you're
totally your discharge papers. Fuck off.
But like,
so after that whole, that's pretty, like, that's significant, right? Like both being hospitalized, like super Cash Landrum vibes. Remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? Like we've heard of this before, whether it's
like almost like radiation poisoning.
Yeah, like radiation poison, like nuclear, the effects of like dealing with like nuclear waste, anything like that's going to give you similar symptoms like this.
The only odd thing is they didn't have any exterior symptoms like their skin conditions or anything of radiation poisoning or being exposed to radiation, but all of their other symptoms like line up. And there was like, well, so that was kind of,
wouldn't skin, that'd be like radiation burns. That's way more. Like you'd have to be
that would be
to like actual radioactive
exposure and
but just like you can get because when you go to like people go to Chernobyl and you can go in certain zones, you take the iodine pills and there's a detector and you'll get sick if you go too far off the trail.
Why
You'll
even
get sick like this?
Why?
And people go there. You can go observe the wild reclaimed Chernobyl.
Three-eyed fish and shit. Like, no thanks.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's like there's some things where I'm like,
I'm good.
I don't really need to. Yeah, I don't need to go and say like check that one off the bucket list. Like explored radioactive nuclear
and survived.
Yeah, cool. Check. All right, what's next?
So they get released from hospital and they start thinking like, this is fucking bizarre, right? They've got a group of witnesses, whatever. Everybody kind of comes together and they reach out to this UFO investigator, Terry Cox. Another awesome name.
Fucking
great
fucking name.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right. He was the Bodman representative of the UFOIN, and he decided to interview the couple shortly after these events had taken place. Caroline Bond and Peter Bolton were a young couple who own and are working on fixing ye old post office located near the road from Penzance to Treen on the north coast of Cornwall, said Terry Cox. He claimed the couple seemed thoughtful when they were talking about what happened, and it seemed clear that they were well-educated and intelligent. To be fair, everybody who speaks in a posh-sounding English accent comes across intelligent.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? That could be
the one thing I was asking is like, were they, because they were like renovating the old post office, I was like, were they just going to all of a sudden be like, they're like, we're the mailmen now? Like, is that why they were, or were they going to like?
I thought you were going to allude to like fucking some type of like poisoning from old materials or asbestos or something.
Yeah.
Oh no, look at me. We are the postman now.
We deliver the mail now. Like, well, that's what I was like, I couldn't figure out if they were like living it. Like, were they going to live in the old post office? Like, that's what I was like, could you just roll up in the 70s and be like, oh, the post office is torn down? Well, guess what? We're moving in and we are the post office now.
Probably. Getting the post office racket. It's kind of what the mob used to do, right?
Just collecting all that Christmas card money.
Oh, yeah, buddy. Do you want to go through some dialogue of the interview or just like?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking It's super riveting. It's like edge of
par for the course.
seat
Let's hear it. What
kind of stuff.
What Cox have to say?
So after they go through the initial sighting, which we kind of bastardized earlier, so we won't go through that again. Terry then asked, I understand you saw something like a pull or a fin projected from it. Caroline responds, I cannot really say. It seemed to have something below it, but I could not see clearly what it was. It seemed as if it was on top of another thing, quite narrow, I think. Terry, you say it was a green haze. You think it was like a vapor? No, it was not vapor. It seemed quite solid. You could not see through it when it moved in front of the barn. In fact, it blotted out the stones. I could not hear any noise at all. That's interesting. It's kind of like maybe like flubber, but flubber's see-through, right?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing too is she says, I could not see through it when it moved.
Yeah, so that's
stop and it would kind of like.
I'm telling you, this is like some type of fucking weird camouflage, cloaking.
Yeah.
It's just an alien with like a Harry Potter cloak, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a Horcrux.
Yeah.
Or
walking around like covering his face.
No, I don't think
no. It's the Deathly Hallow or whatever. What's it? Fuck! It's
the invisibility, the Elder Wand,
and the
Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, but what are they called? Are they
the Deathly Hallows?
Yeah, they are the Deathly Hallows. Okay.
Yeah. So it's got one of those. Well, it's like maybe it's like floating, like maybe what it's sitting on, like that the mist or blob or whatever is like camouflage, like we said, like to kind of blur out what you're looking at. And maybe this thing, because we have the description of the interesting thing is we have description of like a pole or maybe a fin from anyone but people who saw it. They were like, I don't really know. It just looks like it was on top of another thing. So maybe this is like riding some sort of like floating like scooter, or some sort of floating
scooter.
Right? You know what I mean? And it's just floating around, sitting on this, perched on this thing with this like,
so
blob.
Continuing with the Harry Potter, it's on a broom with a cloak. It's an alien.
Hey, buddy, this is the UK.
A green glow.
It's the UK. Somebody's from Slytherin.
This was the inspiration for Harry Potter right from the start. That's where Rowling got it from.
What? Like maybe it's a fucking cryptid.
Yeah, I mean, right? It's so unusual for UFO sightings go that I would be more inclined to say this is something that, would maybe some sort of creature or something, creature rather than a UFO. Cause I'm like, it doesn't like, this is not it's really such a weird
flying. It's just kind of
floating, hovering.
Floating.
Yeah. It's interesting. And it does like the shimmer and stuff. Like it almost is like a threat display. That's how I kind of read it and look like it's like flashing these lights at the people, like it's like warning, like don't fuck with me.
It's probably some like old evil escaped from one of these ancient fucking graves.
I mean,
probably underneath the ye old post office there was something that they shouldn't have disturbed.
Yeah.
And as they're fixing it, they lifted one stone and just kind of like,
ye old evil postman.
Yeah. The spirit of the old postman.
Yeah.
Postman Pat.
Oh man. And his black cat.
Maybe. I mean, it's like, other than that, it's a fucking weird one because you're like, the descriptions of it are so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's a blob. It's a
cool.
Have
you seen the artist's rendition of it?
Yeah. Let me pull it up here. Literally, it looks just a weird splotch.
Buddy, that right there is a deshelled fucking pistachio.
It's got a little hint of red on the bottom, green top.
Yeah.
It looks like they have like it's like black and white, and then someone like put some type of IR camera on it, and that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Close. Anyways, let's take a short beer break. We'll come back with a couple theories, what we think it is, and we'll wrap this one up.
Deshelled pistachio.
Right back.
Yeah. That's it.
We're back.
All right. We said it was a pistachio.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking sold on pistachio UFO.
I mean, other theories would be, some people say like give it more of a natural explanation, like some type of ball lightning, some rare meteorological event or something.
I hear that fucking shit way too much.
No one really. There's very few videos of like ball lightning. There's
there's
a handful, and some people claim they're fake. So like, is there even ball lightning? Is that even like a real
that's the thing. It's just ball lightning is in the same category for me as cow tipping. Fake.
Cow tipping's fake?
Yeah, 100%
You can't tip
fake.
a cow.
You can't tip a cow. There's not one video online of people tipping a cow. They're natural prey. No, I'm telling you, anyone who says they've cow tipped is a liar.
Like, how are you going to tip? I've always thought, like, was a cow weigh like fucking 2,000 pounds? You can tip it over?
Dude, they're natural prey. You think you clunky ass fucking Homo sapien is going to sneak up on a cow? It knows you're coming.
For sure.
I saw Tommy Boy do it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a movie. That's a movie.
So what, you sneak up behind a cow and you just like one person like crouches behind their knees and another person
and then you get
them over and then you get crushed.
You got to sacrifice one buddy to cow tip. There's no fucking way, dude. There's no way. I've never seen. There's not one video, not a single video online of people tipping the cows.
Case file 322, the legend of cow tipping.
Yeah, it's all make believe.
Might have been more interesting in this one.
But
so natural explanation, maybe some type of weird atmospheric event, perhaps. What about the sickness though? This food poisoning, like where's the sickness come from? Other people say like some type of military test, some weird like early drone or something.
Well, I can see that, but that's real early days for having a drone with
a drone that's like just a few feet off the ground.
Yeah,
at some random obscure village.
Well, I think that's where you'd want to test these things, but
like on the ground.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
The other one where they say they've seen the more of a craft style. Perhaps.
Sure.
Why would you? But like, it's a small town. Yeah, but like with all the open space in the world, why are you even going near a fucking town?
Had something to do with the old post office, man. Had to.
Yeah, I agree. I think Zel, you're on the but like every time I think of anything fucking paranormal, green haze.
Yeah, someone rubbed a lamp is what happened.
Yep.
Right?
Something disturbed, something.
The old post genie.
There's a reason all these ancient cultures went extinct. They did something. They brought something onto the world they shouldn't have, and that's why they all vanished. So their stone monuments and structures.
Yeah, I mean, this one is as far like. I mean, it's so fucking stupid. They're like, I saw a blob, and then people are like, it's an alien. I was like, when you read that, never did I once, if it didn't say UFO in all the articles, would go like, yeah, that's a spaceship.
Well, but I feel like it's being cloaked by something.
I mean,
it's some type of fucking camouflage. What did you say, sorry?
Not big enough.
What's not big enough?
This blob.
How do you know?
Well, this got some little aliens, unless it's a probe, like it's some sort of probe.
Fucking seen Men in Black, the aliens in the fucking cats.
The galaxies on Orion's belt.
Yeah,
it's true.
I mean, some people say this was a prank, but given the consistency and seriousness of the witnesses, they're like, can't be a prank. But what's the prank? Yeah. Someone has like a fog lamp with like a green filter and they're shining it on the ground.
As they're walking around.
It's like a spotlight. Someone's on top of the old post office shining it down with a fucking filter, green light and a spotlight.
I just don't know
how. They're falling around like a cat and a laser pointer.
It's not, but that's not one where I'm like, I could in my head be like, okay, well, how do you recreate what they are describing? Prank style. Like that's the tough one for me.
The prank doesn't hold up very well.
It doesn't hold water. It's like, oh, got him.
It's not like you gotta take credit for it too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no one jumps in as like, hey, this was us. It was these wacky kids in Newmill.
A town of like how many people? It's probably a tiny town, maybe 1,000 people,
village.
maybe less.
I think is it a village?
Village. I feel like all of England's just a village.
Yeah.
And then there's London, and then villages. That's all. That's in my mind. That's what I picture.
Yeah,
agreed. The Shire. There's a city covered, surrounded by the Shire.
Yeah, it's a small. It says small settlement.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Shire.
I mean, so the extraterrestrial option is really the only one that's really gained traction online because the lack of man-made explanation and the sickness and the weird glowing haze, the blob. And it does draw parallels with other cases where people did get sick from an interaction with UFO.
Yeah.
Just it's a weird shape. It's very small. The craft itself is unlike anything we've talked about.
Yeah.
It didn't hover above the car. It didn't chase you down the road. It didn't do any of this. It's just a blob floating around some obscure town in nowhere, UK.
It's weird.
Yeah. And then never seen again from anyone. Zero descriptions of this thing.
They figured out their cloaking technology.
Yeah.
This is a rudimentary version. This is the 1.0.
Yeah.
It did gain like the Cornishman was like a bigger paper in the area. They covered the story extensively after it kind of gained like widespread coverage throughout England. So people became super interested in it, and it became like it's like a cult phenomenon of this weird.
Do they have a yearly blob party now?
I hope so.
The Newmill Blob party every year, every September. Or when did it happen? I don't remember. September 17th? Is that what? Am I right on that?
It was. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, September 17th, the Newmill Blob party. We'll see you there.
See you there. Pod trip to
Newmill. The world descends on the tiny, quaint village of Newmill, UK, just south of Worcestershire. For an EDM party you wouldn't believe. That's out of this
You'll
world.
all be seeing green blobs. It's an ongoing mystery, and it was never explained.
Yeah.
There's really no... That's what it's the green blob.
Yeah.
It's the green blob.
I
Some
have
people got
nothing.
sick.
Beware of the blob.
Yeah. If you see a blob, let us know. I have no fucking idea.
I've seen a few blobs.
It's the weirdest one. Yeah, I've seen it. Usually it comes from like a head injury. Looking at the sun without your obsidian glass. Getting floaters. That's about it. No, it's a fucking
ongoing weird mystery.
Yeah.
Riveting stuff, you know?
Riveting stuff. Good pick, Andrew.
Thank you.
If you're from Newmill, if you're one of our many listeners from the Newmill area, and
have you seen a blob?
Have you seen the blob? Have you history? Do you have a family tradition? You talk about the blob every year.
They dress up as the blob.
Dress up as a blob.
Yeah.
The whole town dresses up as green blob.
They got
Halloween.
a blob statue.
I heard the blob actually delivers like candy to the door every September.
And everyone gets sick
Halloween.
when they eat it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you put your little wooden shoes out and they fill your little wooden shoes with candy. And then
Don't forget, the blob will come and drop your iodine pills. Yeah, it's fucking.
It's a blob.
Whatever. Yeah,
it's a green blob. If you want more riveting content like this, you got to go to Patreon. You got to go to alientheorist.com. You got to hit the support tab. You got to help us get to the bottom of the blobs and other surrounding cases from this area.
And just so all of you listening who've been watching live, this wasn't even live, you motherfuckers. This was pre-recorded because we knew you were going to try to fucking ruin the Canucks score. Suck my ass.
Gotcha.
Yeah, huh, you fucking loser Bruins fans. Suck it. You're probably sitting there watching us, trying to chirp us in the chat. It's not even, you wasted your time this whole time.
We're always one step ahead.
Yeah, it's 8 steps ahead. While you're playing chess, we're playing fucking life, motherfucker.
Get with it. This week's newest supporters, we got TJ Webb and George Webb. Brothers?
Nice.
Perhaps. Both signing up. Appreciate it. Gator Wolf. Peyton Harris. Sin Eater Sean. Ooh. Oh, wait. He signed up free. You don't count. Delete Sin Eater Sean.
Yeah, suck it.
And that's it for this week. Thank you very much for supporting the show.
And as we always say at the end of these things, keep those eyes